Guys, let's move on to the Sooners. And Barry, they reached 20 victories faster than anyone else. And following the Bedlam conquest in Stillwater, there's talk that this might be a Final Four team, that they might go 16-0 in the Big 12. Is that rational talk?
Oh, I mean, I'm not interested in putting anybody in the paddy wagon over it, but it's not very likely. 16-0. You got to win so many road games. Still got to go to Austin and try to win. Go to Columbia and try to win. So I doubt they can go 16-0. But it's a very good team, and it is Final Four caliber team. I mean, so it's a special season and a special team Jeff Capel's put together.
As you look at the Big 12 schedule, laying ahead for OU, what is the game that you circle on the schedule, John, that says, I'll know then?
Be at Austin or at Baylor, but here's the deal. All fall long we tell everybody to look at the polls because it's football season. Now I say forget the polls, ignore the polls. You got ACC teams and Big East teams beating each other up. They have more losses than OU. OU by default could become the number one team in the country. Would that make them the number one team in the country? Who knows? But don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain here. There's still a long way to go.
Well, you know what's interesting about OU that I can't quite put my finger on, but it's been really interesting to watch is Blake Griffin is going to get his points, but past that, they seem to have guys that even Tony Crocker can go on a hot streak and then have an off night. And it's like they don't miss a beat. Somebody else just pops up there and has a great night, an Austin Johnson or a Willie Warren. And, you tend to think that once guys start to establish themselves, then the guys around them will start to look and say, all right, Austin's hot. We're going to – but when those plans fall apart and a guy has an off night, they just have somebody to come in and pick up the pieces. It's really – they don't sort of have that traditional 2 or 3 go-to guys. It sort of rotates. It's Blake Griffin and whoever happens to be hot at that moment. And that's kind of – it's been weird to watch because it's so unconventional, but yet I think it sort of serves them well because guys can just pick up and go for 20 on any given night out there.
It's the same deal. It's the exact same thing OSU's got, except OSU doesn't have the guy in the middle. Yeah. Everybody at OSU can score except the big guy. Everybody at OU can score. Crocker, we know, can go off. Austin Johnson's playing like an all Big 12 player. Willie Warren's averaging 14, 15 points a game. Taylor Griffin doesn't shoot much, but when he does, it goes in. They can all score.
Barry brought it up in today's paper. It's like, the February 19th is the NBA draft deadline or trade deadline. It's like OU made a trade and they got Wampatillo. And I'm telling you what, they play Iowa State this weekend. Guess who he's going to be guarding? He's going to be guarding Brackens. I don't know if they had anybody before him that could guard Brackens. It just gives them, is a bench one person? Maybe it is. Patillo is a huge addition to this team.
Oh, I couldn't take my eyes off him. I was watching that game Monday night, and he came in. He could guard at least 4 positions. They talked about he could guard point guard if they needed him to.
Well, they put him on Tweety Carter for a little bit last week.
That's right, and he bridges the gap. It seemed there for a while that they had this incredible interior offensive attack, and then they had some shooters, guys who were emerging, especially Austin Johnson. He's been impressive. But they didn't have a guy who was a tweener as much. Willie Warren sometimes takes the ball to the rim. Not a lot, more of a shooter right now. This guy, he bridges the gap both offensively and defensively. It's like a midseason trade in the NBA. And is he the edge? Is he the Final Four edge?
Well, he certainly helps. I mean, my theory on the Final Four is this. You get to the Elite Eight, it's a 50-50 game, unless the bracket falls apart. Mm-hmm. So even if you've got a really great team, it's 50% chance to get once you reach the Elite Eight. So if you're really good, like OU is, maybe in the Sweet 16 game, you got a 60% chance of winning. You do the math, it ends up, if you're a number 1 seed, like OU probably will be, you got about a 25% chance of reaching the Final Four. That's what makes it so special. It's hard to get there.
Well, I think Patillo, who he reminds me of is Darian Selvey.
That's a good one.
And his body, and he'll guard anybody you tell him to guard. And I wasn't sure why he wanted to come out of redshirt, and I think for about a week and a half he wasn't sure why he wanted to come out of redshirt. But right now he's clicking, and he is a very important piece to that puzzle.
I like that, John, because some people have said Tony Allen. Yeah. And I thought, well, Tony Allen is 6'4" and can shoot from outside and score and do all kinds of stuff. But this guy's 6'9". I don't know if he can shoot a lick, but he can guard people all over the floor, and he dunks the ball anytime you get it to him in the paint. I like the Selvey move.